Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back, everybody. So it's time to update our view on the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in particular. So although we do not see currently very significant volatility, a lot of action, market relatively staying in a tight range, still some important moments exist here that we need to keep an eye on. And in fact, it mostly relates to comparison of the previous collapse in the background and price behavior after it and current collapse. They have a lot of common features, although the background stands different. So if you remember last time, it was because of the banning from China, the mining activity in the country. That has led to a really big collapse here. This time is the changing of the Fed policy. And the general world is entering in a stage of the high inflation, which keep the hazard of the faster rate tightening. And the reaction of the Bitcoin tells that it is too early to speak on the Bitcoin as the safe haven assets compared to the gold. It behaves like the second quality risky asset that is sold off first among all other assets. It's like some kind of the emerging market assets, stocks or bonds. When the rumor about the rate change is coming, these assets are selling off in the first place. And all other usually keeping for second selling if investors need to liquidity or would like to rebalance the portfolios in favor of interest-bearing assets. So it means that Bitcoin currently is very sensitive to any change in the Fed policy and to the inflation statistics as well, because they are currently stands in a tight relation between each other. That brings additional risk that this might be the first reaction, and it could be continued because, as you understand, the banning of the miners' activity is the just single and short-term event, while the changing of the Fed policy, this is extended in time event, and currently nobody could tell where rates could appear within the year or two maybe. So that's the difference. From the technical point of view, we have very similar patterns. So once collapse has happened, with a few months, we've gotten a grabber here as well. And this time, again, we also potentially could get grabber, although it is not confirmed yet, so we need to wait for a close of December. So from the technical point of view, our task is to confirm the lows that we could rely on it and use it as a background for taking the long position on the Bitcoin. So market has to prove us that these lows are strong, and we could really consider taking the long position and use these lows as an invalidation point. So currently this process is just starting. It needs time to be completed, and we need to keep an eye on it. So on the weekly chart, I do not see something really special. So market's forming a very small wick, standing inside previous collapse. And here we need to expect something of that kind. When the big range has set, take a look at the price behavior after collapse previously. Here it will be something of this sort, if these lows are reliable. Otherwise, we will get further downward continuation in the case of more significant impact from the Fed policy and so on. So that's what we need to keep an eye on. This is on the weekly chart, and the same story on the daily. On the daily, take a look at what we have. take a look at the price action. So for those of you who are watching our updates on the Bitcoin, remember that I said when the collapse has happened and this range has been formed with this recent bar down, I said that direction will depend on the direction of the breakout from the range of this collapse. So once market break it out, you will get the next direction. So take a look what has happened. When the range has been set, market fluctuates there for a long time, so approximately for a couple of months. Then the first real frosting signs have appeared. The market has broken out, retested this area, and goes up. Here we need to wait for something of that sort. Maybe consolidation will be not as extended as here, because that was first big collapse. Here's collapse is not as strong, and theoretically overall consolidation might be shorter in term. Downside ABCD pattern is completed, this spike down, but at the same time, based on this pattern, as CD lags very fast, it doesn't exclude the chance that we could get the XOP action lower. Additional risk that you could see here, it's a kind of head and shoulders shape that might be formed the nearest time. So also need to keep an eye on. So you can see lots of risk factors exist. I mean, from a technical point of view, lots of potentially bearish patterns might be formed. So in the current situation, we are considering the consolidation and setting the range. So it already actually we have initial suggestion that it will be based on the recent sell-off drop candle here. Markets probably will start to fluctuate here. So our task inside of this range, trying to see potentially bullish patterns. Once it will be formed, we should not miss it. Just to take position with a possible upper breakout. This is probably this is the second task. And the first task is to get assurance that these lows are reliable. So you can see here, market has set and tested 3 times these lows and then starts to rally. It suggests that these lows are reliable. Here's was, by the way, the monthly grabber lows. You can see the thrusting action. Currently, it is not clear yet whether these lows are reliable or not. It's just the first lows, and it might be suggested that actually market wasn't able to drop lower just because of the strong oversold on the daily, on the weekly chart. Because weekly confidence support, as you can see, already has been broken. So the one thing that has stopped the market is actually the oversold condition and major monthly levels. So market has dropped directly to the major confidence on the monthly. So this is really very significant pressure was with this collapse. So that's why we need to get confirmation of this low. So it probably will need some time to be formed. Well, on the intraday charts, guys, currently we do not see something really special. So if we'll take a look at the 4-hour time frame chart, as I said, this is probably not yet the recovery, because it is very slow, and this is not the way how market usually recovers after the collapse. So this is mostly the short-term reaction on the support, some technical pullback right here. We should be ready for the further downward action. It would be nice if we will get some bullish patterns. For example, if we get this kind of the guardless triple to buy, theoretically we could consider taking the long positions here, at least for a short-term trading, and see whether this short-term pattern could lead us to the longer-term reversal. But that the pattern that theoretically we could keep an eye on. But at this moment, I think the downward action is not over yet, and market has chance to maybe not to break it down, but at least fluctuate inside of this most recent collapse, as I said, most recent candle, and in the nearest time it has big chances just to drift slightly lower back to the lows. So that's what really could happen on the Bitcoin, and that's why we do not consider taking any long position by far. And actually we do not have the bullish patterns as well. On the hourly charts also nothing interesting, some kind of sideways consolidation, mostly look like the flag. It's very gradual and slow action inside of it, which means that mostly it carries the features of the retracement. This is not the type of action that usually treats as a rally, because just compare it to the daily performance here, and you can see how a rally and recovery and bullish market should look like. We're mostly dealing currently with something of that sort that we have in the beginning of this collapse, and you can see here as well. So that's actually what we have currently. I think we should be patient and just spend some time on the monitoring of the situation, what is going on here, because guys, within 2 weeks this week we will get CPI numbers, which will be very important, and next week we will get the Fed meeting, where it should be announced and could be announced acceleration of the tapering. So all these moments also could make impact on the Bitcoin market, and we will see what will happen next.